Well, that was unfortunate. I don't feel like combining the clips together, so let's just start this as a new video. Hey guys, groundnut tasting here. We won't discuss what happened. So anyway, I'm just going to stick this in my mouth while it's nice and warm. Apios Americana, the American groundnut, North American groundnut, grows from north to south. It's native Canada down into parts of Mexico, east to west in the U.S. here, all over. They are adapted very well to anywhere that's basically got a moist spot for them to grow. They can grow in freezing solid grounds up in, the coldest Canadian winters, and they survive and do amazing down here in Florida, even South Florida, heck, even in Puerto Rico. So, very adaptable crop, And of course, I'm tasting this here, the improved variety of groundnut. Without further ado, guys, if you have any questions, ask, right? That's what I do. Yeah, swimming in butter here. That's the way I like to eat everything, right? All lathered up. Look at that beautiful piece. Snow white, beautiful. Some of the wild types can be a bit yellow, or there are even some brownish ones out there if you're eating wild groundnuts or harvesting them, or you happen to grow one yourself, just, in your garden. But the improved varieties tend to be snow white, very white, and delicious butter. All right. Enough talking. All right. I love groundnuts, by the way. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, it is just a little more toothy than a potato. And I'm going to compare a lot of the root crops I will be filming in the coming weeks and months to standard potatoes, because I'm pretty sure most of you know what a standard potato tastes like, okay? That's or a sweet potato. So that's where I'm coming from comparison-wise. All right? Just so you know. Now, it is just a little more toothsome than a standard potato. It is kind of like not an underdone potato, but it's like the starch is just got a little more to it. That's it. It's a little more substance than your standard Irish white russet potato. Your russet potato. Just a little more bite, and it's good. You like it. It's got more heftiness to it. That's the texture. Other than that, it's like a more substantial white potato. Very good tasting. Texture-wise there. Flavor, it is like the best potato you've ever had. It's got a good nuttiness to it, and just the ever slightest, not sweet potato sweet, but ever just slightest nutty sweetness. And it's just awesome tasting. It is literally like the best potato you've ever eaten, and that's the only way you can describe it, really, honestly. And I, of course, salted the water when I boiled them and lathered it in butter. But very good, absolutely delicious. These can be substituted for potato in any dish, and you would not really be able to tell the difference. Put in soup, stews. I probably wouldn't mash it, just like some potatoes aren't best for mashing. This is better cubed like this. I like a boiled potato, a boiled buttered potato. I wouldn't mash it. Now, I have a feeling it would get too gumpy. I've never mashed them, honestly. But fry them like potatoes, make French fry groundnuts out of them. Boil them whole if you've got one of the varieties, or you've got young groundnuts. Nice thin skin on them. Boil them whole. Roast them with garlic and herbs, Just, there's so much you can do with these guys. It is a very likable flavor. And it's a shame that they are not a more common crop, because there's nothing disagreeable about them, especially the improved varieties. The wild varieties, now it's a different thing. It depends on how old, because unlike potatoes, groundnut tubers don't die. They are true perennial tubers where every year the tuber will just get bigger and bigger and bigger. They don't rot, they don't die, and they just keep growing and sending out vines. So if you're harvesting wild plants, you could have, depending on the tuber and if they're size to eat, they're probably fairly old. They can be really earthy tasting or funky tasting, and especially depending on where they're growing, if they're growing in really mucky, not the best, cleanest area, you know what I mean? So always grow them yourself. And honestly, the wild types are not worth growing, so you got to get yourself some improved varieties. And I know, they've been more common over the past few years. I myself, have played a hand in that. I've sold so many to you guys, so I know there's at least a few hundred of you out there that should be growing groundnuts. And, overall, Apios Americana, the American groundnut, a native, and it is a great edible. Should be worked with, should be a commercial crop, and there you go. It is super easy to grow, easier than your standard potato. It can grow anywhere in pots. They do better in pots. I am working on clumping varieties that would do better in the ground. And if you give them good composted rich soil, they're easily just as productive as potatoes. Easily, with the added bonus of some of the varieties get edible bean pods on them that are pretty delicious. And they get beautiful purple flowers too, so it can't be beat. So there you go, guys. This is part 2 of, me tasting the Apios Americana improved variety. And I believe this one was, in fact, Simon. So, love you guys. Thank you for watching. Yeah, and I will keep finding and cooking rare, edible, survival, garden, food-type crops for you guys. That's what I do. Love you guys. Thank you very much. And grow food. Grow groundnuts. They are definitely worth it. And by the way, that's not even getting into their health benefits, which I'll leave for you to look up. But suffice it to say, groundnuts have a long history of being used for anti-cancer purposes. So there you go, guys. Love you. Grow food. Grow those groundnuts.